Welcome back to English from A to Z, English in real life. You know that feeling, right? Like you're wading through mud? Where just getting through the day feels absolutely impossible. Well, today, we're cutting through all the vague advice. We're actually going to build a practical, science-backed toolkit to help you find solid ground again. We're talking real tools, straight from psychology and neuroscience that you can literally start using today. So, let's get into it. I mean, we've all been there. That feeling of being totally and completely stuck. Every single step feels heavy, and your motivation is, well, it's just nowhere to be found. It's this mental fog that makes even the simplest things feel like climbing a mountain. And let's be real, it's not just a bad mood, it's a state of being that can feel incredibly lonely. But here's the big idea for today. What if those roadblocks weren't actually permanent? What if you had a toolkit, like a real toolkit, filled with proven strategies to not just get through these challenges, but to actually clear the path and start moving forward with some real momentum? That's exactly what we're going to build. So, where do we even start? Well, the first set of tools is all about our foundation, our inner world. Because, before we can deal with everything out there, we've got to get a handle on what's happening in here. And it all begins with one of the most important and most misunderstood concepts out there: confidence. Okay, this is a really crucial distinction to make. Self-confidence is your big picture feeling of worth. I'm a good, capable person. But self-efficacy, that's way more specific. It's, I believe I can nail this presentation tomorrow. You can be a super confident person in general, but still have low self-efficacy about something new, and that's totally okay. The best part is, self-efficacy is something we can actively, scientifically build. So how do we do it? Well, the psychologist Albert Bandura gave us this amazing 4-step blueprint. First up, mastery experiences. You gotta stack up those small, tiny wins. Your brain literally logs them as proof that you know what you're doing. Second, vicarious learning. Watch other people who are like you succeed. It actually triggers a little, hey, if they can do it, I can do it response in your brain. Third, social persuasion. Soak up genuine, specific encouragement from people you trust. And last but not least, your physiological state. You have to manage your stress because a calm body really does support a confident mind. And get this isn't just fluffy, positive thinking stuff. It's grounded in hard science. This idea, neuroplasticity, is incredible. It means your brain isn't fixed, it's not set in stone. Every single time you try something new, or challenge a negative thought, or get one of those small wins, you are physically rewiring the neural pathways in your brain. Change isn't just possible, it's literally biological. Okay, so let's put that science into practice with a tool for one of our biggest enemies, that nagging inner critic. This is a classic technique from cognitive behavioral therapy. So when that voice pops up saying, "You're gonna fail," step one is to just notice it. Don't fight it, just observe it like a passing cloud. Then you become a detective. You challenge it. Okay, where's the actual proof for that thought? And finally, you hit it with your counter evidence, a list of things you've actually done well recently. You're using cold, hard facts to retrain your brain. It's powerful stuff. All right, so once we start strengthening what's going on inside, the next set of tools in our kit helps us improve how we connect with the world around us. So let's dive into the art of genuine communication. I absolutely love this metaphor. We so often think communication is all about talking, about getting our point across. But the real connection, the thing that makes that bridge between two people strong and stable, it's not built with fancy words. It's built with the hard, focused work of really, truly listening. And this is what separates simple hearing from active listening. Hearing is passive, right? It's just sound waves hitting your eardrums. But active listening, that is a fully engaged process. You're not just waiting for your turn to talk. You're locked in, trying to understand the meaning and the emotion behind what the other person is saying. But man, it's not easy, is it? We're up against so many barriers. You've got the obvious ones, the external stuff, like your phone buzzing a hole in your pocket. But the internal ones, those are the sneaky ones. Are you busy planning your perfect reply while they're still talking? Are you filtering everything they say through your own biases? Or maybe you're just so wrapped up in your own stuff that day that you can't really hear them. Just recognizing your own personal barriers is a huge first step. So we've got tools for our inner world and tools for our outer connections. The last part of our toolkit is all about the long game. How do we build the kind of motivation that doesn't just get us started, but actually keeps us going when things inevitably get tough? Oh man, this one is universal. We've all felt it. You start a new project, a new hobby, a new goal, and you're just buzzing with energy and excitement. And then, a few weeks, maybe even a few days later, poof, it's gone. And it feels like a personal failure, doesn't it? But there's a really clear scientific reason this happens. It's called the dopamine dip. That initial excitement you feel, that's a chemical high. Your brain is giving you a nice big rush of dopamine as a reward for starting something new and exciting. But once that novelty wears off and the real work kicks in, that dopamine rush just fades away. And what felt fun and effortless now feels like, well, effort. Understanding this is a game changer. It's not you failing, it's just your brain chemistry doing its thing. So, knowing that these dips and setbacks are going to happen, here's a tool for how to handle them. The moment you stumble, the absolute first thing to do is to stop beating yourself up. That just wastes precious energy. Just acknowledge it. Okay, that happened. Then you switch into learning mode. Ask yourself, what's the lesson here? What data can I pull from this? And then, this is the most important part. Identify one single tiny step you can take to get moving again. It's all about regaining momentum. And this is exactly how you build that unstoppable momentum. Forget about the huge, overwhelming goal for a second. Break it down into ridiculously small pieces. Instead of write a book, your goal for today is write one sentence. Seriously, each time you check off one of those tiny tasks, it's a small win. It's another little dopamine hit that proves you're making progress, and that's the fuel that gets you to take the next tiny step. This might be the most important and most underrated tool in the entire kit. We live in a culture that confuses exhaustion with dedication. But burnout is the number one enemy of progress. Sometimes the single most productive thing you can possibly do is to strategically rest. Remember, rest isn't giving up. It's refueling for the road ahead. So when you put it all together, you get this really simple but really powerful equation for growth. When you work on mastering your inner world and you improve your outer connections, the natural result is sustainable forward momentum. That's the engine that's going to drive you toward whatever you want to achieve. So there you have it. The tools are now in your hands. And listen, you don't have to use all of them at once. That's not the point. Just look at what you're facing right now in your life and think, which one of these tools could help me the most today? The journey of 1,000 miles starts with one single, well-chosen step. So the only question left is, which tool are you going to pick up first?